You just want to laugh at me like everyone else.
Rocket, you're drunk, all right? No one's laughing at you.
He thinks I'm some stupid thing. He does. Well, I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a beautiful finale to the Guardians trilogy. It ends every character off on a high note and is another masterpiece by James Gunn. We all know that this was his last movie working with Marvel, and goddamn did he pour his heart out. This was an amazing ride beginning to end, and it's just perfect how he ended everything off on a high note. What I think especially caught me in the beginning of the movie was the fact of like how dark it is, how it has a more grim tone than the previous films. I love the fact that like in the first two movies we have these bombastic openings with like upbeat music and intense action, but in this time it's just more somber and it's solely focused on Rocket, about like how himself and the Guardians in general are made up of weirdos and creeps that feel like they don't belong and they're monsters inside. And following up on that, this really is a Rocket movie. Like, this is Guardians of the Galaxy, but this is really focused on Rocket as a character. Now, it's been stated by James Gunn himself that the Guardians movies are basically Rocket's films, and this one especially really proves that to us, because the fact that we get to see how Rocket was basically like created and how he was, it's just so dark, and it's just really groundbreaking that Marvel and James Gunn especially are able to go that extra mile to show us how something like Rocket was created and what he is now today. And it's just the fact that they have such a dark tone with not just that, but the whole movie in general is just so, it just works, and it's just so amazing to see, especially for nowadays with Marvel. Which, speaking of, with Rocket's past, the High Evolutionary, the actor who plays him is amazing, and the way how they show him as this irredeemable monster that creates things and doesn't even care about them is just great. I honestly love him as a villain, especially for the fact that he's not like redeemable, because like we've been having too many villains in the MCU that are like kind of justified in a sense, but this guy, everyone just he's just irredeemable, as I said. Story wise, it's I think it works. Basically Rocket gets like near death, and they need to save him. Now, my problem with this is the Act 1, where they go to this like living space port operation, and it's fine. It just doesn't feel like it was like kind of necessary, I guess. I mean, it's a good way to bring in Gamora, since, you know, she's with the Ravengers now, because it's not her, it's past her, but I just didn't think that really worked. It just felt kind of convoluted in a sense, but everything else was great. I mean, like, especially like whenever they get to Half-World, that's whenever things really start to kick off. Like, I think it was great how we get to focus on Half-World entirely. I thought it was just gonna be a set piece, but no, we actually do spend a good amount of portion in Half-World. We get to see some of the people, and the reason why, spoilers, I'm just gonna do spoilers now, why the High Evolutionary basically just blew it all to hell, because how he's trying to perfect himself, and he doesn't care how he gets it. He doesn't care who he kills. And that's what I think this movie comes down to, is it's really about humanity, about who we are as humans, and how it's important to love each other and love ourselves. And I just think it's great that the movie like expresses that in such a colorful manner. Another negative besides the Act 1 of the plot is Adam Warlock. I'm not really looking for comic accuracy. In the comics, he's treated as like a god, or he's like smart as one. He's really like wise and all that stuff. And it is stated that in the movie he was taken out of his cocoon too early, which explains why he's like first like a newborn in a sense. But I think just in general, he didn't really work that much. I mean, like, he came out of, like, nowhere. Like, whenever he showed up, like, he would just come out of nowhere just to beat the shit out of the Guardians or just cause them problems. And while I understand that he is necessary for this plot, he was teased, you know, in the last movie, but I just feel like, I don't know, they could have done it better, or they could have maybe waited, but I don't know. I mean, hopefully there is potential for the future, because, you know, like, I'm doing spoilers. He is part of the Guardians, the new Guardians team. But, yeah, I don't really know about that. But, in general, the characters, the main thing about this movie, I think that every character gets the perfect send-off for this movie. I love the fact that Drax is shown, while he is an idiot, it's shown that he's, like, not meant to be a destroyer, but meant to be someone to take care of others, as he was with his daughter. Mantis is able to branch out into the universe and find who she is and be on her own. I love the fact that Peter, especially, is able to, like, confront his past and be able to finally go back to Earth. I don't know if it's just me, but I think it's weird as hell that he was literally on Earth, but he just never contemplated or thought about seeing his granddad. I don't know, but that's just kind of weird. And I love the fact that Rocket gets to become the captain of the Guardians of the Galaxy, because it's great to see, like, all this character development he went through all these movies, and he's now the leader of the team. And that's just very special to me, because he is, in all intents and purposes, one of my favorite characters of the MCU. And with Gamora, while it's sad, I do like the fact that they don't get back together, because one, it's not that simple, and two, I can tell that she is happy with the Ravengers being her new family, because it's a bittersweet ending to while they're separated, they are happy, which is sad, but, you know, yeah. That's why I'm happy for Nebula, because she gets to be able to rebuild herself and make a life for others that she never got to experience. And that's why, for each and every Guardian, they each get to have a happy ending in the end. I'm glad that nobody died. I'm glad that everybody was able to be happy. To see them branch out and become better people, it's just sad, because James Gunn has done such amazing work with these movies, and it's just sad that he'll never get to do it again with these characters that he basically made, like, popular. Like, back then, nobody knew who the Guardians were. The Guardians were basically like these D-C-list heroes that nobody even knew about. I never even knew about them unless it wasn't for my Lego video games or the Marvel shows. And that was really about it. And that's why this film, or this series in general, really just showcases how you could turn these essentially losers who lost people, who feel lost, into some of the greatest heroes of the galaxy. And that's why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect story, but it damn near is a grand finale.
You left out some important information, but that is the gist of it.